What's up, guys? On this video, we're going to show you an exclusive video from our Skool community, our paid Skool community, showing Eric, our COO director of that community that's done over 465 deals just last year, helping Kieran here on where he needs to go in his business with some feedback from me as well. If you want to join this program, it's completely free, a 7-day trial. And what you'll get in that 7-day trial is you'll get 3 calls. And in these calls, you see Kieran was here on a call a little bit later. So there wasn't as many people, but usually there's only about 3 to 4 people in there, right? We got more team members on the group, but 3 to 4 people in your call. So you get very personalized training. One from Shane. Shane was a chief of staff for a company that did over $20 million a year in wholesaling real estate. Then you have a call with Eric, like I mentioned already. Their company did well over $6 million last year in over 465 deals. And then one call with me. Again, last year we did about 3 million. And I'm not as big as those guys in terms of numbers, but I like to believe we can talk some high-level CEO, or I can talk some high-level CEO strategy in our call. So if you want access to the guys, again, it's a free trial. I'll leave a link down below in the subscription. Free 7-day trial. Get your call, get your value. If you don't think it's worth it, which I would be surprised if you didn't, if you don't get your value, you can just cancel. So I hope you guys enjoy this call. If you got any questions, let us know, and look forward to seeing you inside some of these calls yourself.
Yep. So I'll do a brief intro, and then really we can talk about really anything that an opportunity or a challenge for you at the moment, and talk through some of that. But right now, I work for Rapid Fire Home Buyers as the COO. In the early days, it's just me and the co-founder Joseph Back, and he started it in like 2019. I joined on right around COVID time. It was just the two of us buying and selling houses together, and we joined Collective Genius in December and really saw some big players in that room, people that really inspired us to go bigger and treat it like a business instead of just a couple guys buying and selling houses. So we started to hire some employees and built out some systems and processes. Just over time, made a lot of mistakes too, but fast forward to today, we've expanded to 5 locations where we're wholesaling. These are 5 like physical locations with a team in place, an actual kind of office space. And we did 459 transactions in 2024. And just recently landed on the Inc. 5000 list of top fastest growing companies. We're number 561 out of 5,000 fastest growing private companies in America. So that's really cool. It's something I'm really proud of, but have experienced both being at the ground level and starting something and being in almost every seat within a wholesale organization. And I've also had the opportunity to grow a team. We're at just under 40 employees now. So I've had the tactical skill set of the actual buying and selling of houses and how that business model works. But also my focus a little bit more today is my day-to-day today is more on leadership and growing the team. So that's where I'm at. There's still a lot of challenges and things I don't know in the business, but hopefully I can share some of my mistakes so that you don't have to make them, and can maybe talk through some stuff. So what would you say is kind of the biggest challenge in your business, or the biggest opportunity?
The most immediate challenge right now is I need a couple more lenders. We're gonna, like, the deals that I've contracted, we don't have the money to buy all the properties that are under contract.
Sure.
So I'm pushing to get stuff. I flip land, so I buy land and then I resell it. We're trying to do the wholesaling thing with land.
Yeah.
We did our first double closing in January. Made 24K on that deal, but we've had a little bit of challenges with people with doing the acquisitions process for that. We're figuring out the wholesaling thing, but largely we buy and resell. So I'm looking for a lender to lend on a couple of deals. I've got 100 acres under contract in Oklahoma right now for 200,000. It's worth 350, and a few other things. And I want to hire for acquisitions to help free up a little bit of my time. So I'm doing an acquisitions program right now with Jenny,
Jenny Hudspeth.
Jenny Hudspeth right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So lenders, tell me, how did you, there's some deals that you've done already. Did you wholesale those like assignment, or did you actually buy and resell those? And if so, how did you fund the first few deals?
I've been doing this for 6 years, so I just took $3,000, turned into 12, turned into now like a million worth of inventory right now, buying and flipping from
Yeah.
one deal to the next deal to the next deal to the next deal to the next deal for years.
So just self-funded, pretty much.
Pretty much. I've got a couple of lenders now on a couple of deals, but up to last year, I'm self-funded.
Gotcha. And the couple of lenders you have now, I imagine, might get tapped out pretty quickly and wouldn't be able to keep up with your deal flow. And that's why you're looking for more.
I've got one lender in Louisiana where we're doing deals, and he'll fund stuff in Louisiana, but he'll just fund around from where he lives. He's got no limits on capital for us for what we're doing. He could lend me $500,000 if I needed it, but he won't do outside of Louisiana.
Interesting. Okay. Well, this is a unique challenge, and one that I've actually been, a little bit more about me outside of Rapid Fire. The CEO Joseph and I have a rental property partnership. So we have a couple dozen units, mostly single family, in the United States, and we're looking for lenders too. We had a couple of guys. We had one guy who said, "Hey, I got a really big tax bill. I can't lend out any more money." This was our go-to lender. We were tapped out, and we said a couple months ago, like, how can we go and find more lenders? And the first thing we did was we need to, like, we put together a lender presentation, because it said when we go to lenders, we need something to show them that answers questions about what is our strategy, what do we do, can we show some of our track record, because as a lender, they want to make sure that you're reputable. So I can share that and dive into it. If it'd be helpful, I can send it to you. Do you have any kind of lender presentation currently?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm in CG as well. I'm in the baby group. Not baby group. I'm in the select group.
There's a lot of players in there. Gino started out in the select group too, and there's a lot of money in that room. When's the next select group? And have you tried to approach some of those guys?
Yeah. There's a financing challenge with land compared to houses. Like a lot of people are doing.
So here's your thing. Sorry to interrupt though, but here's your thing. What about this? Why don't you ask your buyers that you've dealt with in the past? Who do they use? Or two, if they have any resources to do it, because they're investing in land to do build on it or whatever. They probably have lenders too that they can give you.
A lot of the buyers are buying through like realtors. We use realtors to dispo all our stuff, so they're generally like retail type buyers. But
so
realtors. So a friend of mine is doing really well. Well, my realtor got me the first lender, and I've tapped my phone through all the realtors that I have, and I bug the crap out of them. I've got one, my guy in Louisiana. I told him today that we're running into funding problems, and he said he's got a friend that will. So it's.
Sure. How many deals? I mean, you say you did 6 years. You've done probably hundreds of deals or 50 plus deals, right?
I've done like 150 deals.
Yeah. So you're telling me out of the 150, if they're mostly all realtors, I know some of them probably aren't, some of them are. They're not the same realtor usually, right? So you reached out to like all 80 to 100?
No, like most of them are the same realtor.
Oh, really?
We work with maybe five, six, seven different realtors. What we try and do is trying to find a good realtor. They underwrite all our deals. We have them do all the dispo.
Got it.
We just focus on the acquisitions.
Again, one way is going through them like you've already done or you tried. The other way is literally going back and there's multiple ways you can look at it to where it's a simple. I know it sounds stupid, but you get the hard money lenders that I know they don't like land as much, but you can look up in that local area what other guys are doing. There's also that guy Paul Hairsko, right? I don't know
I
those
was
two
just
guys.
about to suggest Paul and Willie with discount lots.
Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah, yeah. Paul Hirschko, I've spoken to a couple of times. Willie tried to sell us on a coaching program like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I know. I don't know if you know. I know. I know those guys. Those guys have been incredibly successful. Yeah, but I kind of know what to do. I'm just keep on calling stuff, and I move around closing dates, and I make it happen.
Well, here's
Like,
another thing too, and we're just trying to give you feedback on stuff that works that we've seen. Why don't you? And it might sound obvious, but it's like you don't know until you try it. Why don't you ask Leon at CG if he knows any other lenders, and he might connect you with Paul and them on a more personal level. I know they try to sell you coaching and shit, but maybe now they can try to put you in with like, hey, do
yeah,
you guys have any lenders?
yeah, there's a guy in CG who just joined, Kurt Walker, who I've been trying to talk to and get into funding some of these deals that we've got. And I'm having these realtors as well that I'm working with. I'm incentivizing them to do funding. What I'm also trying to do with some of these ones is the sellers are not under financial distress at all. So I'm trying to pitch seller financing on some of them. Like I'm saying to them, hey, look, your property's in the flood zone, so we're running into issues with our private funds that invest on stuff. I forgot to make an offer to you, but we offer people to invest with us where you can get a higher price if you can. I don't know. I don't know if that's how people pitch the installment method on these deals, but like what I've been doing with some of my stuff is we get under contract, we then retrade it. I get it for like half the price after a retrade, but I wonder if I can retrade into seller financing. How do you pitch that right?
Are you asking us how to pitch it?
Well, do you think that's a good idea? And then how would you explain that to the seller?
Eric, you want to take it?
Yeah. I've done my very first deal was seller financing, and I pitched it in a way. What you can't say is I don't have money to buy a house. That was the reality when I was doing my first deal. I couldn't go to a bank. I couldn't get money. Instead, I said, right now you're managing this property, and the talk track may not 100% align because I'm talking about a house and you've got land, and I recognize that. But as I talk through this, maybe we'll get to a point where some of the scripting could be applicable. But I pointed out the fact that he was managing a tenant to get, after the mortgage, just a few $100s a month. And it's not truly mailbox money where it's passive. What I proposed to him was a down payment and then him acting as the bank to finance the rest. And I would make payments to him every month. And then he doesn't have to manage with, he doesn't have to pay the property taxes. He doesn't have to manage a tenant. It's truly passive. Money sent to him every month. And he's earning interest on that. So I don't know. I was able to pitch it and it worked. If these sellers are not motivated, it means they probably don't need the money. And you could say something along the lines of like, hey, if I got you this price and I paid you in a lump sum today, I'm curious, like, that's a lot of money. What would you even use that for? Would you need all that right away? And the reason I ask is, a lot of the sellers or some of the sellers that I've worked with, they're looking for ways to make their money work for them.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
we're
starting to do like corporate gifting. After we buy a property, we're going to send out for like reviews and for private money. A friend of mine got like 3 million worth of lenders from sending out boxes of cookies to people after buying their property.
Wow.
So we just sent out a bunch of them like last week. I just need like 2 or 3 people in Oklahoma. Like these land deals are not that much money. They're like 50 grand purchases. They're not like houses where you're spending 300 grand on a deal.
How many deals have you done in Oklahoma? How close are you with the title companies there? Like, have you done multiple deals in Oklahoma?
I've done like 5 or 6 deals in Oklahoma, but we had a deal last year that I bought for 40,000 and sold for 270,000. So now we're doing more Oklahoma.
Nice. Yeah, I would too. So that's a great spread.
Nice. Yeah, you can take that all day. But my point there is, like, if you're using a title company there too, ask the title company who they have
I
Because
have.
it's only going to benefit.
Yeah.
Only going to benefit them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I have. I'll for sure do it again. Yeah, you like, yeah, we're getting tighter with these ones. So number one is funding. I'm buying I have like 700,000 worth of properties under contract to buy right now. It's 13 property deals. And then
Another thing, Keanu, we'll end it on this because I think we're getting stuck on this one, and we'll go to the acquisition manager one. Eric has a lot of feedback on that. I'm sure, and how to scale that since they got 40 plus people. But there's a pay sub 2 list. Sub 2. When you join the program, they don't give it to you, but I have an access to where I have a list of all their lenders. Now, most of these guys aren't traditional lenders; they're like one-off people. But it's a list of like 15 people, 20 people, and I'm on that list. But I'm not going to lend on land. But you might be able to find someone that can. So just text me and I'll find the list and I'll give it to you.
Yeah, he gave away some list of his private money lenders, and I don't know if that's the same. If that's the
Might
same.
be. Did you get it?
Yeah, I did. I just assumed that those people will get blown up with messages and that they were all just looking for lending EMD.
Oh, don't assume that, man. You can never get nothing if not. No, some of those guys are legit. Like I put mine on there for like single families, but I would just send them all a message, man. What do you got to lose? You're trying to fund deals, Send them a message.
I know.
And maybe they know someone.
I know. I prefer if I can just find like a retired attorney or something like what I've got. Like this guy in Louisiana is a retired attorney, and it just works so easily. It's just such a good deal.
And it seems like you've built a bit of a relationship with him too, and like this is very much a relationship
100%,
business.
100%. I've asked him. He does 90% LTV for me, and I'm like, if we did Oklahoma, we would do 50% LTV, and he's like, no, I just don't want to do it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to push you. I'm not going to push you into something that you don't want to do.
I that's fair. You don't want to push him. He's saying, I'm just not going to do it. A question that I ask in a lot of instances to really challenge someone's assumptions and where they're at is what would need to be true for you to feel comfortable lending to me in Oklahoma? Like he might, and it sounds like it may not work. I can see like, a little bit of disbelief or like, I couldn't try that. I had a call with a lender. His name is Joe Lieber. He's in Cleveland, Ohio. He told me back in September when I first talked to him about lending, I only lend in Cleveland because I know that area. I then connect with him a little bit more, send him the lender presentation, and he agreed to lend to us in all 5 of our locations because he felt comfortable with us as the operator, and he could warm up to it. It would really just be about exploring the same way you would with a seller about their challenges and objections. What are his objections? Do you even know why? Like, why wouldn't he want to lend outside of Louisiana?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna try and make it a point to meet him this year. When I'm flying to the US, I'm gonna fly into Louisiana and meet my realtor and the title company and try and. A lot of my business I try to make as relationship driven as possible because I think that's where the value is, and I think it makes it easier. For we paid out like 150,000 in commissions last year to realtors, but it's worth it for us.
Yeah, and so maybe try to explore going deeper with that relationship you've already got, getting him to expand his lending box where he would go for you because there's that trust. Could be an option. Well, and then the last thing I'll say is, when you get those settlement statements, a lot of times almost if they're borrowing money, that lender's listed on the settlement statement. So could get them from there.
Yeah. It's generally people getting like mortgages when they borrow money, but I do get what you mean. I've thought about scraping lenders from like websites. I'm going on to real estate podcasts. I was just on the Deal Machine podcast a couple of weeks ago. My goal for this year is to get $1 million in private money. So I'm trying to work on that. I think that will make things a lot easier.
Yeah. All you got to do too in Atlanta, we'll end it on this because again, like I said, let's get into some other stuff. And look, we're not going to put this an hour long. We do how much you need since you're on here. It's just you're on. So like we can do this for another 10 more minutes if it is. We're not trying to keep you on. But the point is that there's a I used to do this a lot, and I should probably get back to doing it. Steve Trang had a course with Dave Day. I guess he was in CG, maybe when you were there, Eric, in the premiere. I don't know if you knew him, but he had this course, a private money course, where I could go, and it's not limited to Georgia, and he didn't even teach it about Georgia. But there's a Secretary of State side. Everyone has that, right? And they have the clerk's authority of the Secretary of State, where all the deeds get filed and everything. In Georgia, how you can do it, I know you can do this in any state really. You can look up there and look up the security deeds or the, whatever it's called in your state, security deeds or mortgages, right?
Mhm.
And you can look and scan through all of them that are filed because they have to be filed through the state's website because those are deeds. And you can see if there's any like people's names or LLCs that are just plain
Mhm.
versus like it being Wells Fargo. And those are people you go and skip trace and go after. And I did that for about 20 people and I got like 7 to 8 good lenders. I never really used but one of them, but like I got these people just because I didn't have a need for any more. I got all these people that have lended privately. Again, you go through the Secretary of State or the clerk's authority site where they file the deeds, and you just look for people that were, the lender in the transaction that were just like a single name, and that tells you that they either seller financed the home or they're like
Mhm.
a private lender, right? So
Yeah, I've just been concerned about like, solicitation laws.
there's no solicitation laws on that.
No? Okay.
No solicitation laws because you're looking at a county record. You're not asking them for stuff. You're not publicly asking for things. Like you're not posting on social media. What you're talking to them is just, hey, I saw you did something else on another deal. Like you actually have no solicitation. It's just like, hey, I saw you just did something on another deal. Are you still interested in doing more?
Got you.
You're not posting, hey, where's my lenders at? You're posting, hey, I saw you did something here. You want more?
Okay. I'll do that. I've got a data guy on my team. We can easily pull that.
That would be, I guarantee you'll get some right there. That might be worth everything.
That
Right
might be
there.
worth
Yeah.
this call, baby. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm gonna do that. Eric, for me to go kind of 0 to 1 and hiring somebody, like I'm trying to like right now I just brought on an EA to try and help take some of the stuff off my plate. I'm doing all the acquisition calls and I'm trying to take as much of my day in making acquisition calls. And I'm also trying to get better at like actually we're trying to get better with our lead qualification, that I'm not that my calls are as sufficiently qualified as possible, not overqualified or overqualifying them, but I'm trying to spend my
Yep.
time doing the acquisition part of the business.
Yeah.
Like I think what I should do is like establish a process and then hire somebody into the acquisitions role, and we're going to start ranking our team for lead management. I just fired my underperforming lead manager, and I'm trying to set a higher standard for accountability for the team. But then there's just like the business is just like chaotic. It's just like there's so much stuff to do, and I want to implement EOS. I want to update my mailer. Like, are you doing EOS? Yeah. How are you planning all this stuff out such that it's somewhat manageable? Because I just feel like I'm always.
You're probably
yeah.
You're at the point where I'd recommend implementing EOS. Gino knows this. I'll try not to go down the rabbit hole in this because I'm an EOS nerd. I will geek out about it.
Okay.
I'll just say I can't overstate how important it's been for our business and its growth. We read the book in 2021, right around the time we hired our first person. It was critical for getting, when you talk about chaos, it's usually just unfocused energy. And
it's
EOS,
it's not that it's like unfocused energy. Like I guess it is. Like I just get like stressed that like I'm not on target with stuff, and I like just feel like I'm never on top of things, just all the time. I just feel like behind, but I feel like I'm overly like hard on myself. Like business made like lots of money last year. It was really profitable, but like it was just like I don't know. I just feel like I want things more organized. I'm like my predictive index. I think I'm venturer, like, or strategist.
Yeah.
I want to have like I want to see on dials that we're on track or everything.
Yeah.
And
so
we just seem that I just feel like we're not fully where I want to be.
Well, you're in good company. We've grown a ton, and I find myself getting into this trap of only looking at the gap of where I'm at, where I want to get to. But then Joseph reminds me, and I have to remind him sometimes to reflect on what is the progress we've made, what is the gain. And it's not to just make ourselves feel good or ignore the growth that's still needed, but it's much more empowering to in like the way that you talk to yourself. If you were to write that down sometimes, and I don't mean you, I just mean in general, the same, like the self-talk that we have when we're hard on ourselves. These are things you probably wouldn't say to somebody else because it would be way too mean, way too tough. So like it would reflect on,
Yeah.
recognizing that growth, and that allows you to not beat yourself up too much and recognize, hey, I'm doing as good as I can for this while I pursue improvement and getting the business to level up. And EOS is like awesome. I read the book Traction. We implemented it. The weekly L10 meetings that we do. So like the one thing that helps drive that progress. So when we are off track, we feel like we're not doing enough or not making it. That agenda and following that model helps us get back on track. So perhaps if you did one thing, implementing EOS would help be the domino that tips over a lot of the other things you want to implement.
Did you hire a company to, like, I've read the EOS book and I've looked at the vision traction organizer. I'm trying to build out job descriptions or everything on the team.
Yep.
I hired this new EA and she's in the Philippines. My team are all Philippines and Pakistan. She's trying, but I don't know if my expectations are too high, or she just doesn't have the experience. We just don't seem to be making the kind of traction that I want, but then maybe I'm not realistic with like what I want to get out of her. So I'm trying to figure that out. Like I'd like help with getting that implemented if that's what I should do.
Yes. I think that's precisely what you should do. There's plenty of YouTube videos. I'm here as a resource even after this call. You can reach out and we can jump on a separate call. We can talk through the Skool community and chat. We self-implemented it. All we did was read the book Traction, and we read one chapter together, me and the CEO. Then we put it to practice. We spent about a week trying to get those things put in place, and then we read the next chapter, and we just slowly worked our way through it. The book is written in a way that it gives you the blueprint to follow. So all you have to do is execute, and it's easier said than done, but we've done it. We slowly stood up a lot of the things that are part of EOS, and it's just helped. It's a way to kind of just self-right the ship when it gets off track, so
that makes sense. I'm trying to hire like better people and like fill out the bench on the team a little bit, like not to the extent that it's suffering in margin, but in profit margin, but just I don't know. I'm trying to fix some of the low hanging fruit, but I do think that we need to do like and implement, like I want to run like multiple businesses. Like if we think about like what it is I want to work towards, I want to have like 2 or 3 companies under me. I think I can do it if I find a couple more great people. I've made a good hire with a marketing guy that works for me. He does all my marketing. I don't do hardly anything with marketing, and we're crushing it. Our lead management is starting to get a lot better because we're following the process. Like I realized that like basically we didn't have a process for lead management. It's now expected that we follow the process. Like I hired this new lead manager this week or 2 weeks ago. She's not following the process. And I said, if you don't follow the process, I'm gonna have to fire you. I don't want to fire you, but if you don't follow the process, I'm gonna have to fire you. So I'm realizing, some of the things are starting to click together. But it's just some of this other stuff.
And process is a key component of EOS. So the more you get that dialed in, documented, and then the last part is followed by all. That's the trickiest part, followed by everyone, because it's not enough to just document it. And you have to manage and make sure people are doing it and it's producing the results you want. But I will say I had 2 executive assistants, but that did not work out before I found the one I have now, and she's a rock star. So I think you kind of you would know more than me or Gino what if this EA is going to cut it for you. One thing that has been really helpful in terms of attracting better talent is to get clear on what the organization's values are And through EOS and the Vision Traction Organizer, it helps you define those core values, and those become the lens through which you hire people. Then you can review them through a tool called the People Analyzer to see, are they in alignment with the company core values? And then do they get the job? Do they want it? Do they have the capacity to do it? It helps bring some clarity and objectivity to people, which can be really messy otherwise.
No, I fired a couple of people that just didn't want to work for my company. They just ultimately, if you ask them like, where do you see yourself, and it's not working here, I'm like, okay, well, like, you're not the right person, so I'm starting to realize some of that stuff. But it's just, I think I just need to sit down and like kind of get clear on what I want to do. And again, like, I'm just for like relentless growth in the business, and it sounds like to kind of speed up, you need to slow down a little bit, which I try to do, to try and like, I think what I'm going to do is, once I get this acquisitions process like done and I hire somebody, I probably need to hire like 2 acquisitions people, so I have a benchmark against each other. Like, so I'm kind of thinking about like, what do I want the dream team to look like, and what did like some of the stuff I don't have to find. And I think that's probably a lot of the problem, is you need to know what you're looking for to actually go somewhere,
And doing the VTO is that first step in creating that roadmap of like, what do we want the company to look like? And then how can we find people that align with who we want to attract? And then it makes it easier to find, filter people. So the last thing I'll say on it is, I see you're wearing an Apple Watch like I am. It's running on, or maybe it's an Apple Watch or something else.
An Apple Watch.
Watch. So that runs on an operating system. The computer that we're both using to talk to each other runs on an operating system. Your business needs an operating system as well. It's the function that brings the clarity and helps drive progress.
Like, I want like there's some stuff that's happening. There are things that happen in the business that aren't documented right, and they just happen. Like the bookkeeping, I pull up all the stuff at the end of the month and send it over to the bookkeeper. Went from no process now to hiring a bookkeeper to. But I want to have monthly meetings on like financials, marketing meeting. What are we doing with marketing? Have a plan rather than like winging it, because I don't have time running into a meeting because I don't have any time. And I've done like 6 acquisition calls, and then I'm into a meeting and I'm like, what are we doing here? And then like, I don't know, because I've hired a bunch of VAs in the Philippines that we haven't prepared ahead of the meeting. So I'm trying to figure out some of this stuff. I think that some of these things are what will hold us back from the growth that we need to have. Your team
it's about
you
mentioned slowing down to go fast later, and I think that's absolutely true. There's a very famous basketball coach named John Wooden here in the United States. He's passed away now, older basketball coach. He's famous for the quote, "If you don't have time to do it right the first time, when will you have time to do it again?" And so it's kind of like taking that time to slow down, define this stuff, implement EOS, and it will help the other stuff kind of fall into place.
I think I asked the same sort of question at CG in January or last October, and I think Avi, I don't know if you know Avi and Mohish, I think they're out of North Carolina, and they're like, you gotta spend more time planning. It's just not negotiable, But then I'm like, well, how many hours a day am I calling people to negotiate these deals? How many offers a week are we making? Because I feel like that's the money making stuff, which I think is true, but you do need to spend sufficient time on the planning so that you're not wasting your time. It's I don't know. I just feel like there's just not enough hours in the day. But I think as you said, I just need to think about like what I'm doing is taking the main thing and then breaking it, work on the main thing first.
Yeah. And through just reading the book, I would say the first part is just revisiting the EOS, the book called Traction, which I think you mentioned you've read before, right?
Yeah, I read it. I need to sit down and like read it and actually like write notes based on it. Like not just
implement it,
not passively just read it.
Exactly. Actively, when you read it, actively take notes, and then at the end there's a chapter like recap and series of bullet points of what to do next. Do those things, before you move on to the next chapter. Right. So I would really revisit it. And then maybe when we do these calls like next week, like I can ask you about how it's going and help you build out kind of one segment at a time.
I need to reduce them. I'll be candid with you. I don't know if I'll be on this call next week. I've got a lot of this call now, but
Sure.
I started work at half one in the afternoon today, and it's 11 p.m. now. So
Oh wow.
I need time to like go implement this stuff and go do stuff.
Sure.
But like this has been really, really helpful. I am going to try and jump on some of these calls and get the stuff out of it. Like I think I've got an idea. I think what I need to do. I just need to free up some capacity with some of this stuff. Maybe reduce some of the goals a little bit to make space.
You just got to solve your biggest bottleneck, man. What you're doing is you're tackling too many things and you're getting confused. You're getting analysis paralysis. And look, you made a lot of profit. I'm not saying that to downplay what you're doing. You made more profit than some of these bigger guys. And, you know, but the problem is like you're analyzing these things too much. Tackle your biggest bottleneck. What is it? Oh, it's money. That's all you spend your time on. I know you're working AM, but when I say all you spend your time on, you at least spend 3 hours a day on it. Your other 6 hours can be AM stuff, but you spend 3 hours a day just on that, and I guarantee you, within a week, you would already solve it. You know?
Yeah. I've found that anything that I want, like any problem that I've got, I can like solve if I just dedicate the actual time to doing it. I can find a solution, but it's just actually getting the time to do it and not have like 10 things to do. Like what you said, you know, like the one thing.
And that's the thing that we all struggle with. I think Eric was saying too. Layla Ramosi was talking about that, and it's something that again I still struggle with. So I'm not preaching like I do, because that was one of my big things I'm trying to work on too. Is like just working on the big stuff for the business. And I think it really comes to that, you know, we're just trying to avoid doing that thing. You're avoiding talking to lenders or being outreach because you're just I don't know. I'm not going to say it's afraid of rejection, but yeah, it's probably like, hey, I don't want to deal with calling these people, getting the wrong number, and then them telling me no, and this and that. I can be calling sellers instead. And it's like,
no, I don't think I'm ignoring it. I don't think I'm in denial about it. Like I do need a lender. It's just an issue that's popped up in the last couple of weeks because I've contracted a couple of big deals. It has been an issue under the surface, but it hasn't been as much of a problem now. But it is going to be a problem that's going to hamper my growth going forward.
Again, you're just trying to solve your biggest bottleneck and keep going and move on and keep finding the next one and keep doing that and keep doing that. If you can do that every single day or every single week, every month, then that's when you're going to take business.
Yeah. If one of the biggest bottlenecks, Kieran, is time, the way you get it back is not by, you know, in the early days, it's focusing on just what are the revenue producing stuff. But long term, the way you're going to get it back is through leverage of other people. It's collaboration. Yeah. And when you hire people, like when you hire people without laying the groundwork of defining your vision and what you want the company to be and the processes, then that's when you start to have people that aren't really working out and you're not really sure why things are going wrong. And then it's so hard to build a team. So I think it does point back to just building that infrastructure to be able to hire and then buy back to time.
Yeah, like I could spend a weekend, or I spent this morning going through and making a list of people that we need to contact to get contracts that we're behind on our contract goal and stuff. And I'm going through all the leads on the system. I can spend a weekend going through leads, trying to see, oh, well, we need to call this person. But I'm like, wait, we have a lead management framework. I probably just need better people that are on this than me spending my weekend going through the CRM. Like, is this like, I know if I spend time on the CRM and go through leads, I'll find deals, but like ultimately it's a hiring problem or a training problem. Would you say that's true? Like you're not going through the CRM and finding deals.
No. I personally have not talked to a seller in many, many months. But the team is, and they're consistently bringing in. The last 2 weeks, we've had 20 contracts.
Holy shit, that's nuts.
Yeah. So it's just because we've been able to leverage, you know, you talk about leverage, most people think it's just capital, but you can also leverage through collaboration and other people. And I think that's on the surface level, what you think the bottleneck is. And it's not wrong. It is true. But below that is the groundwork, the EOS stuff that you have to do to help support and earn the right to then go and try to hire people. And then then you'll take off. Then that's when the things really start to click. You have teams that are aligned on what we're trying to do as an organization. You have goals both on a weekly as well as
Yeah.
quarterly basis, and you'll really start to get traction.
Yeah, we've got like a KPI. We got like a KPI meeting where we meet every week and go to a stoplight meeting. We've got a stoplight meeting that we got with
Good.
Jenny. We've I've been reading Larry Yach's book on leadership and understanding about like shared language on the like we're getting there with the
Good.
team. Your team all like local US people?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mix, and so like you said, you have a lot of Philippines staff. We've got Philippine EA and some people on the call team that's in the Philippines and Belize, but 75% of the team is domestic here in the States.
Okay. Do you have like I don't know for this lead manager, I mean not lead manager, EA that I've just hired, she's not doing a bad job. I can't define that. I can't define like what I would have expected. Judging her capacity and stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know if I should just fire her or whether she's just strong enough or what realistic is it that she can get done each week. She sends me end of day reports every day about what she did each week. It's just like I don't know. I probably just need to spend more time like looking at like how are people onboarding EAs and what the expectations should be. Like I'm not wowed, but I don't know what I should be, how I should be onboarding.
Yeah, I have some documents I can send that might be
That'd be
helpful
great.
tools in terms of like onboarding. There's some worksheet stuff in terms of all different EA stuff. So I'd be happy to let me upload that now, and then I can shoot you a Google Drive link, and you can go ahead and snag it. But I'm looking through that, and I'm seeing like responsibility lists and like checklists and things like process type stuff. And it makes, I guess, one question I would ask while I do this is like, how clearly do you think you set the expectation with her on the front
Oh,
end?
none. I copied Jimmy Vreeland's EA job description. I said like, I want you to help me implement EOS. I want you to do job descriptions for everybody. I want you to do organizational check for everybody. I want you to look at my time on the calendar and try and strategize as to what I like. One of my friends has hired a very good EA and it's worked out really well for him. But I feel like I don't know what the onboarding should have looked like for this EA and what I can feasibly see as a deliverable. I don't know what the deliverable is out of an EA, I guess is my problem.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're not clear on what she's supposed to be doing, then or he or like what they're supposed to be doing, then you can't really blame them for not delivering. And like maybe you take some time to redefine that, reset the expectation, say, take a little bit of ownership if you want, say, look, I think I could have done a better job setting the expectations. The reality is there's certain things that I expect to happen on a daily and weekly basis, and I'm not seeing that. I'd like to take an opportunity to reset the stage. Go through.
We've got like all the tasks all added on Notion as to what she's to do, but I'm like I don't know what like I don't know. It's harder, I guess. With lead management, I've kind of got a more of a handle. I probably just need to do hiring an EA course and like get an idea for what the job should fully entail. I need to do some people that are that have EAs to what they have and spend more time on it.
Perhaps. And if you do need to start over, a really good resource is anywhere.com. Anywhere. Well, no, that's not it. Hang on. Somewhere. It's called Somewhere.
Oh, that's Nick Huber's company.
Yes. It used to be Support Shepherd.
Yeah, Support Shepherd. Yeah.
So check them out. We've hired really good people through there. Here's the EA resources. There's probably like 20 plus documents in there, and there's a lot of stuff in like documents from a course. There's a guy named Michael. I read a book by him. Michael Hyatt is his name. He's an author and written some books, including Your World-Class Executive Assistant. I read that. I wouldn't read it again, but through that, I got these resources, which I'm sharing with you. So maybe you can kind of skip the book and just get these these documents.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me dig through some of that, and hopefully some of it's helpful.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think I just need to like sit down and do a bit of a planning session again on the business. I don't think we're like, as I said, I don't think we're doing too bad. We're ahead of target this year. We're making good money every single month. Like we're making good. We're signing like we closed. Yeah, we've got like 8 deals under contract to sell for March, and you know we're doing good stuff. I've got like 2 closes. I got 1 deal closing this week. We're gonna make 70 on another deal closing this
Nice.
week, 60 on. Like
And remember, Huron, like you gotta be mindful, man. This is like you're doing that because you're being the star closer, and so I'm not saying don't hire.
That's
Don't
my
hire
biggest.
someone.
That's my biggest concern about like hiring an acquisitions person. Everyone says to me, hire an acquisitions person, and I've got like my best lead manager. I think what I'm gonna do is he's hungry for growth. He wants to do acquisitions, and he's interested. So I'm gonna have him do Jenny's training with me, and I think I'm gonna have him like if I want to take off for like a week or two, he can do some of the acquisition calls or do some of my B level appointments and stuff, and just see. But like the cost of having a wrong hire, it would just completely
But dude, I
erode
would just limit. I
any
would just
margin.
limit the amount of stuff he does, and he could try to take on some B. But I don't even think that needs to be there. Just have him keep setting you up with quality appointments, and you're gonna do how many a day? 2 or 3 max, probably right now.
I do 25 appointments a week. That's the problem.
Yeah, so that's 5 a day, right?
Yeah, yeah. Or we're doing 7 a day now because I'm behind on my acquisitions
You think
target.
there's 7 qualified ones?
Maybe 6 qualified a day. We try with like
Cool. Then how long does that take you? Good.
like the 30-minute appointments.
And so 3 hours, 3 and a half.
Yeah, I did 7,000 calls last year or 8,000 calls last year. I'm doing 15 hours a week talk time.
Does it fire you up to do that? Does it give you the most energy?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, there you go then.
I enjoy negotiating the deal and I enjoy some of that stuff, but I just get tired of it. But
yeah, but so that's the thing. Slowly do it. What we're saying is do it, but slowly do it, and do it to the fact of like you said. You might give them not. You're never gonna. Next month, he shouldn't be still taking appointments. There should be in a training process, but it might get to a point where he takes the bottom 2, and you take 7, or you take the other 5, right? Slowly.
Do you have an onboarding plan for him? I'm saying to him, I'm going to CG in May, and I want you to take the appointments the week when I'm at CG, because I'm not going to do appointments that week. But
Yeah,
you can do them, and I'll call back, and I'll review the appointments that happened, and I'll reschedule some of them.
I mean, I have an onboarding, but it's not going to be what you want to have because you're going to have a complete different onboarding than what I'm going to have. And I'm not saying based on companies. I'm talking about based on how your skill set of that guy's at. Got it. Like, I would just put your own 90-day plan together with him or where you want him to be come then, and that's what you're going to do. And again, I think the bigger thing around here is you gotta just don't rush into it. That's the biggest advice I think me and Eric will say. For me, I wish, even if you don't like it as much, I'm not saying to be doing it for the next 6 months, but I'm saying slowly, training that guy and give him little tests. Because like you said, this is the most important job in your
I can't afford to screw it up. Like
that's my point. So
like I would be like, the business would be a little bit easier if the acquisitions, if I had hired it and it was performing. But if it's not performing, I can't afford to have a terrible quarter. I'll run out of money right now.
Well, that's why if that's the case, I hate to tell you, but it's not time for you to find another person,
That's fine.
and give that up, and you might say, when is it ever? Maybe Eric has something else, but like, I just wouldn't do it, man. If I'm you, I wouldn't do it because if that's that jeopardized for you and everything else is rolling really well, I wouldn't do it right now. But sorry, I'll stop talking. I'll let you guys finish off.
But I gotta go. Well, I'll just,
you guys finish off.
Cool. All right, sounds good. And Kieran, I'll just end with some closing thoughts. Like what Gino says, like if it is that serious, like maybe focus on staying in the seat that you're in, driving revenue for the business, working with that EA to set expectations right. So all the administrative and non-revenue generating stuff, you can really get that person on and hopefully coach them up. If not, like somewhere, you could probably somewhere.com, you could find a quick, good replacement, hopefully. But yeah, getting that alignment with the EA is critical while you stay in that sales role. And then as you do things, you can start to document that process. We use a tool called Loom all the time to screen record and talk through.
Oh, I love Loom. Yeah, I use Loom all the time. Yeah,
just start hoarding playbooks and processes so that then you have a very good library of content. So when you do hire someone, they can see how you close, and then they're much more likely to follow the same process and get similar results as you start to delegate more and let go of the vine.
yeah. Like we've got all like all my acquisition calls are all recorded. I've got all that. We've got a lot of stuff documented, but the process isn't as defined as, I don't know. Maybe I'm more risk adverse. I think I'm naturally like quite risk averse. I'm like, I don't want to hire into this role quite yet. And we're also growing at breakneck speed, so we're going to run out of cash. So it's kind of like a hard time to make the hiring position.
Yeah.
Probably what Gino is saying. Like, look, I'm looking at everybody else that has got acquisitions teams, and I want to get there. And I think it's just bit by bit.
That's,
I
believe you'll get there. Does it have to happen this quarter?
No, it doesn't. Nothing needs to happen this quarter. Like we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot, the business.
Yeah, well, you're a smart guy and you've had a lot of success. I love that you're sharing some of the wins that you're having. Build that up, and
no, it's fun. Thanks for your time. I wasn't expecting to. I thought I'd be a fly on the wall. I thought I was going to do some other stuff and listen to the call.
No, we put you in the hot seat.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, enjoyed speaking with you, and I'll send you a friend request on Facebook just so that we can stay connected. Even if we don't meet again on these calls, I'm happy to provide value and be a resource if I can be of any help.
Yeah, Eric, good talking to you. I enjoyed talking to other people that are doing good stuff.
Likewise. All right, well, take care.
Cool. Bye.
Thanks, Carl. See ya.
All right, guys. Yeah.